Yeah, Jack helped a ton.
Ah, there it is.
Is this on?
Well, let's go.
The M3 is officially sold. Kind of sad about it, but also kind of excited to move on to the next project. Back to what we're doing today, work on the car a little bit, work on this car a little bit, give our final farewell to the M3. That's it. Wheels are off, new wheels are on. New owner's coming to pick it up in a couple minutes. Kind of sad. Last time we'll see this thing. Welcome back to another episode of Home Wrenchers, and we are still in quarantine. But one of my favorite parts about working from home is whenever I want to just take a break and shut my computer, I can go work on my car. And if you watched the last episode, you know that I recently sold my E46 M3, and I would say I'll go show you my new car, but you already clicked on the video so you know what it is. But let's go take a look at it. Chant, let's go show them the car. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. So before you guys get all bent out of shape about why I got an E92, let's go take a look at it, we'll pull it in the garage, and then we'll start talking about why I got this car, what the plans are for it, and what we're gonna do today. Champ, come on, let's go look at the car. Come on. All right. Oh, here it is. So this is a 2009 pre-LCI E92 M3, and this is what we like to call a stripper package. So it's got carbon roof, but it's also 6-speed manual, black interior, no navigation, no EDC, no nonsense, which is really what I wanted. I love the like low option package sports cars because it's like no frills, no, you know, navigation to look dated in 2 years, none of that. So this is really like the enthusiast package car. I'm super pumped for it. I already put LCI taillights on it, which is basically just like the LED taillight upgrade. And I brought it to Strathsport because it had a gross front plate on it. So I got the front plate shaved, got the side marker shaved. So just to clean it up a bit, another kind of dirty confession. You guys know I like to buy and sell cars a lot, and I had a lot of time on the internet recently, and I ended up selling my Raptor because of a bunch of random little reasons, but I wanted to get back into a Toyota, something a little bit more reliable. I picked up this thing, and I love this color. This is a 2017 Tacoma TRD off-road. And it's pretty much all stock, except for I did put my front runner rack on it because I kept that off the Raptor, but I friggin' love this color. It's so sick. So I got some plans for that. I'm not doing anything to it this episode because I don't have any parts for it, but that'll pretty much still be the overland, off-road, tow rig. We got plenty of things to do that. But for now, let's move some cars around. Let's talk about what we're gonna do to the E92 M3. As you know, last episode, I sold my E46 M3, which is pretty difficult. I mean, while most of my coworkers have an addiction to carcane, which is like when you can't stop buying cars and most of them don't work, I have what I like to call an incurable emotional issue called commitment issues, where I can't actually keep anything for too long. So I figured let's get a E92 M3, which I bought for less than the price of my E46. These things are such a bargain right now. It's got a 4-liter V8. It's got ITBs, which is individual throttle bodies, 8 of them. It revs to 8,600 RPM. It comes factory with a carbon roof. It's an amazing car. They also have less inherent issues. Like, they don't have Vanos issues. They don't have subframes that tear out. They don't have other chassis problems that are massively inconvenient to fix. So it's a pretty solid car. My plan is to make this my dedicated street car that's just like fun to cruise around, daily drive a little bit more, go to the canyons, and then the E36 will be my dedicated race car. So that's the plan for this. So this episode, we're gonna get this car just like into a cool street car mode, which I've collected a bunch of parts for already because I knew I was gonna get one of these. So I started buying parts. The car's been stock for a couple weeks. I thought I would enjoy it more than I have, but like it's dying for some mods. It needs it so bad. First thing, these wheels, awful. gotta go. Got the car up on the quick jacks. First thing we're gonna do is pull this exhaust off, but before we do that, we're gonna open up the new stuff because it's always smart to do that, because in case you get something and it's wrong or you see something that is glaringly missing, I will rather do that now and be disappointed than when I pull my car apart and then have to put it all back together stock. So let's open up some boxes and then let's start ripping this thing apart. Yeah, jack helped a ton. All right, got the exhaust system off. I am sweaty, but it was actually really easy. I think it took me like 20 minutes. Did have to take off a couple more things than I expected, but I just figured like remove more, make it less of a headache, pay for it in the end. So wasn't that bad. As you can see, we've got completely different exhaust layout here. First off, this is the first section of the exhaust. This is called the X-pipe section. And I went with the Beamer World ones because not only have those guys been great, I mean, they've helped me out a ton with my E46, but then even before that and before Hoonigan times, my E36, my Dakar Yellow. James and the guys over there have been super, super, super helpful. And if you own a BMW or you work on your BMWs or whatever, support those guys because they're awesome and they're enthusiast ran. But I also went with their X-Bike because they're the only one that did it different than everyone else. So everyone generally puts the X in the factory location here, but Beamer World actually did a bunch of testing and found out that moving it further forward towards the headers actually makes more power. And in my little bit of knowledge that I know, it's that exhaust is hotter as it's closer to the engine and the heat dissipates as it goes further towards the tailpipes. So in theory, the hotter the exchange right there, the more power it makes. So I figured I'll go with the one that makes the most power, being the Beamer World one. So we got Beamer World, X-pipe, and then an agency power rear section. You can see it is tremendously smaller and it is like a quarter of the weight. So we're gonna pop this thing on. It should be pretty quick. Gonna swap over the brackets from the muffler. Got 3 there, 2 exhaust hangers, a center exhaust hanger, and then just a few clamps. So should be pretty simple. It is a little bit of a pain doing it on your own, just trying to get things to line up, but I'm excited to hear this thing start, so I'm gonna get to work. All right, all buttoned up. Time to start this thing and see what it sounds like. I bet it's gonna be super loud during cold start, but once we get the tune in the car, we're gonna delete cold start, so it should be good. So let's check this out. So we got the exhaust on. Now it's time to handle this atrocious ride height and super soft suspension. So luckily, got some KW coilovers. I'm stoked to get these things on and try them out.
Fellow Hoonigan, how does a free car sound? You like buying Hoonigan gear? Are you thinking about buying Hoonigan gear? Well, we've got a deal for you. We're giving away Ken Block's very own 2013 Ford Focus ST Company Cruiser. Car tastefully built in 2013 to be the HHIC's daily driver turned Hoonigan Racing Division company vehicle. Starting today, Every single dollar you spend at Hoonigan.com gains you one more entry into the raffle. That means you spend 50 bucks, you get 50 times the entries. It's as simple as that. You don't gotta do anything else. Head on over to Hoonigan.com/giveaway to see if you're eligible. Who knows what kind of VIPs have driven in this thing? Travis Pastrana, Joaquin Woodbine, Andreas Baccarat, Trick Daddy, obscure 80s band Oingo Boingo, and more.
All right, folks. Front suspension's all done. That was super quick. Couldn't be more painless. I don't know. It was easy. So now we're gonna go onto the back. I was just checking it out. It looks pretty simple. Drop the rear shock, pull the spring out, and then we gotta go in the car and pull off the top hat. So the only bummer about this is we gotta take off all the interior. There's a bunch of, a whole bunch of clips, and then the shock mount is somewhere in here. So pull out all the carpeting, get access to the strut tower right there, and pull the shock out. This should be pretty quick. Ooh. All right, so we got the rears all in. A little bit of a fiasco getting some of the bolts to line up, and the big 21 mil bolts were like torqued to 6 million foot-pounds, and I couldn't really break them loose. That was a pain, but they're all in. They look good. I'm really stoked that these come with like helper springs. Should help keep that rear spring settled on big old rebounds. But for now, not done yet. Got a couple things I want to do. So before I put the wheels on, I want to change the brake pads and also add some wheel studs. If you've ever owned a car with lug nuts, you know how much it sucks. So luckily, Motorsport Hardware, they make these cool wheel stud kits that are actually threaded, and they have Allen keys on the top, so they go in super friggin' easy. It's definitely one of the cheapest and best upgrades you could ever do for a BMW. And then also, I picked up some Hawk pads, some performance ceramics, because this has factory BMW brake pads, and you clean your car, and then like one block later, your wheels are filthy. What the hell? So I wanted to change my brake pad just because I have two wheel options. One being white and the other one's being mesh. So they're both miserable to take care of and to clean. So gonna try to fight that with a little bit of better brake pads. Whew. So I didn't film putting the front brake pads on because it's not that exciting. And because the camera battery died, so I had to go charge it. But man, after having stop techs for all these years and getting spoiled by changing top loading brake pads, this sucks. It's not fun. All these bolts are so tight. Oh man. But we got the fronts on. No visual change there. Now we just gotta move on to the back, knock those out, and we can finally have the payoff, put the wheels on the car, lowering it down. Also, if you don't have this tool, this is literally $35 on Amazon. And it's the best tool ever. I use it on race brakes, I use it on stock brakes. It's the best. All you have to do is insert it, and then you pump it, and it spreads your caliper open so you can compress your piston. It's the best. It's worth every penny. I love it. It's definitely a life changer. Go buy one. All right, now we're ready for the easy part. Finally get to mount up the wheels. So these are Fixie Profil 10s, same ones I had on the E46 M3. And I just changed the tires out to Falcon RT615 K+. I really like the hard sidewall on these, so I think that they'll look really nice. So time to just put them on. Oh, it's on the ground. I actually thought it'd be a lot lower, but that's good because I thought it was going to be dumped. But we still have a lot of room left on the coilovers to spin it down a bit. So I think I'm going to try to take it down on like another, like an inch, and then take this down like another ½ inch. But overall, yeah, it looks great. The fitment's really good. This is 18 by 10 plus 19. I could add some more camber to bring that in a little bit, just so it's not super close to the fender. That's easy enough. Just adjust these in. And then this is 18 by 10 ET9. With a 275/35. Looks pretty good. All right, just finished up work and been antsy, kind of wanted to get out in the garage and start working on some things. Kind of figured like, they didn't love the stock seats. I still sit a little high in them and like they're not super supportive. So I figured while I had the time, I should just throw the buckets in. So I'm stoked. I got to keep these from my E46. All I had to do was pick up new brackets, which I got from EAS in Anaheim. They had some Mach Schnell floor brackets. with a seatbelt receptacle and a slider, because I run a slider on the passenger side so you can still access the rear. Usually putting in seats, pretty straightforward. When you don't run a slider, things are generally kind of a pain in the ass to do. So we're gonna do the driver's seat first. I think things should go pretty smooth. I might have to drill a couple holes, and I already ran out to the hardware store and got some hardware the other day. Should be straight on that. But yeah, install is pretty straightforward. Let's get to it. All right, folks, update. So I didn't film a lot of the test fitting of the seat because, let's be honest, no one wants to watch me pull a seat in and out of the car about 15 times trying to figure this out. What we did learn is I'm actually going to run a slider on the seat. Without a slider, the seat sat super low, and because you can't like remove this armrest like I did in my E46, it felt sort of awkward. Like your arms are like always up really high, and I just actually wasn't really liking it. So I did wind up putting a slider in the seat. So I can't finish the other side because I only bought one slider. So I'll have to go to EAS tomorrow or Saturday to pick it up. So here's what we did. We got the seat all set up, got the side mounts on, got the seatbelt mounted. These mounts came with a nice like bracket, and how they work is actually kind of cool. So it comes with this, and it comes with 3 spacers. So basically you mount that here, and then the spacer goes in the front to bolt in between the slider. That's really it. Honestly, putting the seat in with the slider is a lot easier because everything lines up a lot better. You can move the slider around to bolt it down. So it is not the worst thing, but I think I actually like the height of the seat where it is. We'll see after I drive with these for a bit. I might end up just putting these in the E36 and getting like a reclinable Sportster, something like that. But for now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this with a quick vacuum sesh. Then we're gonna put this thing in for the final time, and then we'll go buy a new slider, and then we'll do the other side, maybe faster, because we'll know what we're doing at this time. Maybe, we'll see. Got the seat in, looks great. I really love these seats, and I know this interior looks a little stock to have Recaros in it, but I think it looks cool. Also, I have plenty of headroom here if I do have to wear a helmet. Luckily, this is a carbon roof car with no sunroof, so got plenty of space. Pretty stoked. Tomorrow I will run to EAS and go get some seat brackets, some sliders, and I'll finish up this install. I almost forgot about one of, if not the best mod you could ever do if you have racing seats. This little inflatable bladder is awesome. It's an adjustable lumbar support. So I know this might sound like the most boring thing in the world, but if you like having some like lumbar support, which is like your mid-back in seats, so then you got racing seats and you're like, this kind of sucks, I wish I had that. These are super cheap and they're so easy to install. All you gotta do, you pull out your seat pads. You just stick this in at your desired height so you can kind of figure out like where exactly you want it. And then you run the little pumper out through your harness hole here, and it fits with harnesses still also. And then you just put the seat pad back on top. Once it's installed, like you would never even know it's there. And then a little strap right here, and you can just pump this thing up and then let it out. It's literally the best thing ever. All right, well, that's a wrap for this episode. Since you guys all know I don't know how to use cameras, Jolly and I are doing a little social distance hangout so that he can shoot some beauties of the car. Oh my God. Look at that. Oh my God is right. My dog learned a new trick that he loves, which is dig a hole and then lay in it. Look at this precious dog. Champ, you were too much. I don't know. I don't know where he learned that, but I'm gonna feel bad when I make that not a pile of dirt.